Hi, this is Jennifer Timko with Stampin' on the Fly. I'm joining you today to show you how I created this toucan window card as part of the collaboration with Newton's Nook Design and Xyron. So I chose to use this Toucan Party stamp set that was part of the last release from Newton's Nook, and I think it's just adorable. So I stamped the toucan, the leaf, and a couple of the other elements from the stamp set, and I stamped those in Memento Tuxedo Black, and then I'm just coloring them with my Copic markers. So for the black portion of the toucan, I'm actually using my T series gray markers, just the T8 and the T5. These two blend together really nicely to create that black effect. So I'm just showing you quickly how I did that on this little guy. I love the idea of creating a moving card with this Xyron to show you how this glue is really, really strong. And this window card was the perfect way for me to show you that. So now I'm moving on to the blue greens. The BG 72 and 75 are beautiful, beautiful together. And I love how they blend. Once I'm done getting the blue greens done on his wing, I'm going to move over to my reds. And for the reds themselves, I have a little bit of a gap in here between the red 89 and the red 85. So you're going to see me in here starting to do a tip-to-tip method. And that's a great way of stretching your Copics when you have some gaps. And it helps to create a more seamless blend. I just use the wide end and use the tip of the lighter color to pull a little bit of ink from the wide end of the darker color. And then with my yellows, Y21, Y11, and those two blend together really nice. And to finish up my toucan. I'm going to do the same thing with this leaf. Again, with my olive greens, I have a bit of a gap in between these. They're YG yellow green, my olives. And I have a bit of a gap on these colors. And I'm trying to match with this green. I'm trying to match the designer series paper that's part of this card. And that's part of color theory. It's actually old olive paper from Stampin' Up. And these two greens work together to really make a nice match on that old olive from Stampin' Up. That color series paper has that ombre, and it has a couple of others too, a paint chip version and a few other things. But I thought that they were going to be great for the background on the colored images for this card. Once I did get all of these images colored, I just cut out the images using the dies from the Toucan Party stamp set and the coordinating dies, and they're awesome. I think this was a really great release, but this set is so, so, so cute. So here it is. I have a 1/2 inch, 1 3/4 inch, and then the rest. There was an A2 series, size piece of paper. And then I do the same thing for my A2 card base. And so you can see how these layer together. And it's just a 1 3/4 inch gap in between. And that's just the gap I determined was right for my image size and for my sentiment. You can alter that gap for anything you need. Using my Misty, I use some VersaFine Onyx Black ink and stamped the sentiment. Toucan do it. And I just lined the two up and stamped them all at once because they work really great with that spacing. Did have to double stamp them. That's the joy of the Misty because there's no reason to have incomplete stamping on anything. And now I'm going to just get into the mechanics of how I created this card. And this is where that Xyron ink, I got the permanent adhesive. It's the 1/2 inch tape runner. And this is what I'm using. It's super strong permanent ink and you don't have to worry about your card falling apart, which matters when you're using the window sheet and all of this stuff. So the super strong glue is really what's going to make the difference for you. So I just roll the glue over and I attach my window sheet. I did cut my window sheet just a little bit wider than the 1 3/4 inch space so that I had some room to attach it here. Once I have that done, I'm going to add glue to the other side of the card. And then I'm using the bottom section of the card just to get my spacing right so that it is the same size, that A2 size, once it closes. So I get it all lined up and I attach that, and then I'm going to add glue again all over the front of the card to attach my designer series paper. And now you won't see what's underneath, and all of the mechanics are hidden underneath the layer of paper. Isn't that ombre pretty? I think it's really great. Once I get this done, the rest of it is just a matter of design choice. I'm going to decorate the inside and the outside of the card together. Before I get there, I did find that there was a little bit of adhesive that had gotten on the outside of where my paper was. So I used this adhesive remover from Xyron to help pull off any extra that I had. All right, here's all the pieces, and I had all of these things colored and cut. Pretty much just like what I told you before. I used the pinks, the lighter versions of those reds, to create the pinks on those flowers, and then the greens are just like what you saw before. So I have this little branch, and I'm going to connect this inside. I'm just going to glue this down, and I'm going to attach a couple of the leaves, and the leaves just kind of hide the end of the stem and make the inside part of the card look a little bit more finished. And I fuss around here. You can see I'm fussing around with where to put the leaves, and that's sort of just opening and closing the card to figure out where you want your placement to be. And once I get those on, then I have to figure out where I'm going to put my toucan and the other flowers too. So you can see that I'm kind of messing around with it, trying to figure out exactly where I'm going to put it. I hadn't made one of these before I did the video, so I was still in the design phase when I was creating the video. So now you see this is what it really looks like. I mess around and play with things a lot. I got the little leaves there behind this toucan, and I realized you could see the Copic coloring through, and that was going to show through when the card was opened. So I went ahead and cut a second toucan out of the white paper, and now I'm just gluing that second layer behind the colored one. And now when the card is open, you won't be able to see all of my coloring that bleeds through normally on any of the white paper when you're doing your Copics. So now that little problem is solved. And I like where the toucan is there, and I'm going to work on getting the glue. I'm going to only attach a little bit of glue to the right side of the toucan so that it is over there on the strip of designer paper and that you again can't see it when the card is open. And there you have it. It's the finished card. It's a super simple card to put down, and it's one that is great with this glue. Hope you enjoyed this today. Appreciate you stopping in today, and I will see you again soon. Have a great one.